risk management, and commercial leadership has helped organizations successfully navigate large-scale developments while maximizing value and minimizing disputes. We are delighted to have him with us today and looking forward to hearing his insights and perspectives. Thank you again, Mr. Muhammad, and the screen is yours.
Thank you a lot for the introduction. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. It was planned like a long time ago. I got in touch with your team like by the end of the year when I was publishing these fundamentals, and finally we are doing it now. I hope it can be useful and helpful for all attendees. The presentation of today is about fundamentals of delay analysis in construction projects. I have published multiple publications of fundamentals, one of them in fundamental in planning and project planning, 50 fundamentals. Then the next one was the fundamentals of construction contracts. And in both of them, we have like delay analysis and claims inside them. Then by end of last year, I published this 35th fundamentals, which is the fundamentals of delay analysis. It is specialized in delay analysis in construction projects. I think Ala introduced me. I'm a contract and project control consultant. I have master in construction law, master in business administration. I'm a civil engineer consultant from Saudi Council of Engineers. I'm member of RICS and have few certificates, CCB, PMP, D3O, and author of D3 fundamentals, which I mentioned. This fundamental of delay analysis, it consists of 10 sections. The first section is introduction and purpose. The second section is about the delay-related topics like types of delay, total float, some related terms like mitigation, acceleration, pacing, disruption. And the third section is about the approaches, starting from the international delay analysis approaches from multiple references, then focusing on the prospective, retrospective, and the ACE recommended practices in terms of prospective and retrospective forensic delay analysis. Then the fourth section is about the validation and enhancement. This is one of the brilliant things you can find in the ACE forensic delay analysis. And after that, the concurrent delay and the approaches of delay analysis of the concurrent delay. It was my dissertation in the construction law, actually. And after that, one of the also additional topics I introduced here was the non-schedule approaches. So you can make delay analysis without using the time schedule. So there are other techniques you can use to make delay analysis. We normally use for forecasting, and it can be used for delay analysis as well. Section 7 is about evaluation and some special cases. And most of these special cases you can find in the SCL, Site of Construction Law Protocol. And then 2 sections about the extension of time claim. The section 8 is about the principles. Section 9 is about the submittal. And finally, the professional certificates. Today, we'll not discuss the full 50 fundamentals. We will pick some of them, and we will focus on the following topics. The first one is introduction about the purpose of delay analysis. Why we need this delay analysis, why we have this delay analysis also in the contracts or extension of time. Then the types of delay and delay related topics. After that, the schedule requirements in case of we are doing delay analysis, what we will need to have in the schedule, and some concepts about the critical path. Then the delay analysis methodologies, starting from the international methodologies and focusing on the time impact analysis. And we will talk about this a bit more and why we need it a bit more. And then also introduction about the concurrent delay analysis approaches, and finally the extension of time claim preparation and the benefits of extension of time. So we'll go from section 1 to 2 questions or 2 fundamentals, which is the purpose of the extension of time mechanism and the delay analysis elements. Why do we need this extension of time mechanism inside our contracts? The nature of construction contracts, and if you attend me any session before about contract or delay analysis, you will find this introduction. The construction contracts is different in nature from any other type of contracts. And as we are familiar with this and we are doing it day to day, we may not notice this difference, but there is big difference. If you will go to supermarket and buy something, you will find the price, you'll see the product, you will pay the price and get the product and go. So it is very simple form of contract. But the construction contract is extremely different. You don't see the product, you don't pay when you have the product, and you don't take the product and go. It takes long time to do the construction of the project, to do the execution and the implementation, to have the project in place. So it takes long time. Because of this long time, we have additional obligation in the contract. It's about time. It's about duration, about time for completion, when we will complete this work. So we have inside the contract, we have the scope of work, what will be the project, what we need to do, and we have also a duration, one of the obligations inside the contract. Then this obligation can be affected by many events, and we call it like some prevention events. Sometimes some events can prevent the contractor from completing the work on the contractual completion date, on the planned date or contractual completion date. In this case, if this event is out of the control of the contractor, and the contractor will need to extend the duration. If you don't have extension of time mechanism inside the contract, the time will be at large and to complete in a reasonable time without new obligation. That's why this mechanism is added inside the contract, to have a mechanism to change the date, to extend the date, and to have a new obligation on the contractor, how to replace the original obligation of the original contractual date with a new obligation and new contractual completion date. That's why we need this mechanism. And to do so, we need to make delay analysis to know these delay events and make delay analysis for these events to analyze the impact of this and to provide or grant the contractor extension of time according to this effect. The elements we will need while we are discussing the delay analysis, we need to know the events and the responsibility, the party responsible for the event, the cause and the effect. What are this event and what the impact of this, and are these events causing this delay, and what is this delay, and how to quantify this delay in terms of days or calendar days or working days, as the case may be according to the contract. We need to know how to submit this in a claim, to prepare a full claim, not only a delay analysis report. You want to make a full extension of time claim, including the delay analysis report. And finally, how to review and to make the determination of the entitlement and what will happen in case of disagreement on this, in case of claims. It is claims generally, and it is applicable also in extension of time claim. Then we'll discuss now from section 2 the types of events, and I'll go directly to the section summary of to summarize all of these related topics to the delay, and then you can go to the fundamentals and read them one by one. Here we've classified the delay events according to the responsible party. We can find it caused by the contractor. So it can be, we call it contractor risk event. So if it is caused by the contractor, it is normally it is inexcusable to the contractor. The contractor is not excused in this delay because it is because of the contractor himself, and the contractor will not get extension of time. So we'll, in this, if it is contractor risk event, so we'll have no extension of time, and we call it inexcusable delay, and the contractor will be responsible to recover this delay. Otherwise, the LDs will be applied, the liquidated damages or delay damages. The other types, if it is out of control of the contractor, it will be excusable, and the contractor will get extension of time. It can be by the employer. So if it is by the employer, it will be excusable, and the contractor will get extension of time. It can be neutral, not by the contract, not neither of them, neither the contractor nor the employer, or it can be both of them. Both parties cause delay at the same time. We call it concurrent delay. All of these types normally are excusable, and the contractor will get extension of time claims. So we have delay caused by the contractor, it is inexcusable. Delay caused by the employer, it is excusable. And normally also the neutral and concurrent are excusable delay. So it means the contractor will get extension of time. If we will elaborate more to this classification, we can classify to different more types, and we can dig deeper to more topics. We started with the inexcusable if it is because of the contractor. In this case, we have no extension of time, and the LDs will be imposed. The contractor will be imposed to LDs, will be applicable. If it is excusable, the contractor will have extension of time. The excusable can be by the employer. And if it is by the employer, the contractor also can claim for the indirect cost or any additional cost they incurred because of this delay. And that's why we call it compensable. So if it is by the employer, it's employer risk event only, it will be excusable, compensable as well. If it is neutral, it will be excusable, but normally excusable, but non-compensable. Concurrent also excusable, but non-compensable. Sometimes the concurrent can be compensable if we can segregate the impact, or the employer delay exceeds the contractor delay. So first we check the excusability, then we check if it is compensable or non-compensable. Because if it's inexcusable, we don't need to check the compensability. There is a duty we can find also from Society of Construction Law, duty on the contractor to mitigate the delay, not to exaggerate the impact of the delay. If the contractor can minimize this impact or effect with minimal cost, without additional cost. So it's a mitigation on the contractor to do so. It is a duty on the contractor to do mitigation. We have also another relevant topic, which is acceleration. Acceleration is to complete prior to the contractual completion date, to complete early. The contractor may complete early because of directive and direction by the employer. The employer or the client instructs the contractor to accelerate and complete early before the contractual completion date. And in this case, they need to make like acceleration, agree on the acceleration fees and make acceleration agreement. It can be voluntary by the contractor. The contractor want to accelerate by himself. They have other business. They want to complete early and take these resources, do other projects. So it will be by the contractor. We have a third case. It can be like the contractor submitted an extension of time claim, and after that, the employer took long time to respond, or didn't respond, or tried to reject it and instruct the contractor to complete on the original date. And after that, the contractor found himself entitled to extension of time claim and completed earlier to the entitlement. In this case, the contractor can submit constructive acceleration claim, claiming the cost incurred because of this acceleration, constructive acceleration. We have also one term called pacing, when there is a delay in one area in the project by the employer, for example, and this will cause extension of time. The contractor can do like slow down the work in other areas and do pacing. And in this case, it will be pacing different from the concurrent delay. And to demonstrate, so the contractor need to send the notice and to also demonstrate we need to check the contractor has the resources to complete on time, but he doing this slowdown intentionally. We have also another topic, which is disruption, when the employer is affecting the productivity rates of the contractor and doing disruption. And this can cause delay or not. This can cause critical delay also or not. So in this case, it may cause critical delay or not. So it can be like disruption, separate disruption claim for the cost uh, happened or occurred because of this impact on productivity, and it can be also included in the extension of time claim, as the case may be. Then we will go now to the program and the requirements we need to have in the program today to do delay analysis. To do delay analysis, we need a program different from the program we need to do project control. We need a program with right contractual dates, right scope, with appropriate level of detail for the activities related to the delay. So we may do some, if we have any issue in these things, we may do some validation. This is one of the important things and brilliant things you can find in the ACE forensic schedule analysis, to do this validation. Some professionals are rigid with this. They don't want to touch the program. We will use the program as is. No, we can't touch the program. We can validate it in case of we have some issue in these main things like contractual dates, compliance with the contract, scope, responsibility, the critical path continuity, accuracy of the data, and consistency of the actuals from between the updates if we are checking more than one update. So we can validate this data, do the rectification, doing sometimes more detailing if we need, or summarizing if we don't need the details in some areas. So we can find in this validation many helpful things we can do and support us when we are doing delay analysis. And it's very important topic because some professional doesn't accept so, but this is acceptable and we can find in the recommended practice by ACE. When we check the program and checking the critical path and the total float, we need to understand many things about this. We need to understand the total float is about the uncompleted activities, because the actual portion of the program doesn't work in a network or in the links because it is already actual. So it works with the uncompleted activities. This critical path also can be forward from the data date. It can be changed with time. We can have some critical path and sub path. We can have some near critical. We need to check the updates. We need to take the contract if we are mentioning anything about the ownership of the total float, if we still have some total float on the activities, or the consumption of the total float, how was this consumed by the parties, and normally it is first come first served. And we need to check many things also that can affect the critical path and the total float, like the calendars used, the constraints, if we have some constraints on the program, the lag and leads, the open-end activities to fix these things, the resources, because sometimes we focus on the logic of the program, but we don't focus on the actual productivity, the variance in productivity, and the available resources, and the resources agreed and can be utilized and available to the contractor, and the contractor was planning to use and assign them to the work. The scheduling type, it is retained logic, progress override. Do we have out of sequence activities, and we have hard logic or soft logic, and do we have also changes in the scope and some additional work or some omission? So we need to check all of these things not to affect the critical path in and make any manipulation in the critical path. Now we'll go to the approaches. What are the international approaches of the delay analysis? And with some focus on the, as I mentioned, they'll focus on the time impact analysis. We can see here from many references. One of them is the ACE recommended practice for prospective time impact analysis as applied in construction. I recommend this for everybody. You need to read it. It is a small reference and very helpful. You can find also the forensic schedule analysis to do some enhancements. I used it also to do some enhancements and adding the validation to the time impact analysis, and you can get from here the other approaches. You can find also one of the best references in the contractual and legal relevant items, which is the Society of Construction Law Delay and Disruption Protocol. And I used also many other books and references from RICS, Civil, American Society of Civil Engineers, and books for other authors. You can, if you open them, you will find different classifications. Some of them are mentioning like additive approaches, subtractive approaches, analytical approaches. Others are mentioning theoretical and actual based approaches. But the most common classification, you can find the prospective and retrospective. What is the prospective? Prospective, it means the event already happened, but the impact didn't take place yet. So we are like predicting the impact, looking forward. So we have forward projection on the impact. The other approach is the retrospective approach or group of approaches classification. The retrospective, which is after the fact, the event happened and also the delay happened. So we have it after the project is already delayed and we are analyzing retrospectively. We are looking back, not looking forward. And here, as I said, the references, you can find the SCL for contractual and legal issues and ACE for the technical and practical implementation. So do we need to use the prospective? Is the prospective better or retrospective better? Why do we need these approaches? Why we don't have only one approach and use it? The prospective approach is very helpful when you are doing the now we have a delay event and we know this delay event will affect the completion date of the project. So we don't need to wait until the project is delayed and then we will see how this event affected the completion date. Because like this, we will move with the lights off. We will move in dark. We don't know what date we are targeting. So the contractor will not, he needs to arrange the resources and the sequence of work and have a target date. Likewise, the employer needs to have a target date to plan the operation of the project. The project is not to be finished and that's it. The project will go to operation. So, and many things the client or employer want to plan during the operation. So it is very important for the interest of the business for both parties to do it prospectively. That's why it is very important and practical, can be practical perspective to do it prospective delay analysis. While this approach remain theoretical in nature, because we will agree on a new date, but this date will not be the actual completion date. The actual completion date normally would be different. This doesn't mean the prospective analysis is wrong, but we have many things will affect it. While if we are doing it retrospectively, we can see everything. We can see what actually happened. We can move from the foresight to hindsight. We can see what actually happened. What if the this event affected these areas, while the contractor mitigated other areas. The other areas, we have here improvement in productivity here and there. So we can see all mitigation actions happen. So we can see everything what actually happened. So we can, in terms of entitlement, it will be more accurate. But in terms of practicality and the need of the business, the perspective will be more helpful and better for both parties. As I mentioned, the references we have for prospective, we have this ACA recommended practice by time impact as applied in construction. For retrospective, we have the forensic schedule analysis. These are the recommended practice by ACA. The prospective, we will select a program, appropriate program, adding the activities related to the event. We call it fragment, adding them inside the schedule and run the critical path and checking the impact. While in retrospective, we have many approaches. They call it observational and modeled. The observational is comparing programs together. So it's comparing what was planned and what actually happened. So it is normally, and the common name is as planned versus as built, or they call it, sometimes they use updates and they call it contemporary period analysis. But here we'll find the approaches called the static, dynamic, and we have 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and 5. Static gross or static periodic, dynamic as is, split or modified. So here the static is comparing only as planned, as built, the only two programs, comparing like gross or comparing periods. This is 3.1, 3.2. Dynamic, we are using the updates also in the comparison. So this comparison, we don't run the program. We are comparing existing programs, and we are doing like analysis in tabulation in some tables and comparisons like this without running the program. In the modeled, we are running the program. We are using the logic. So we have this, the use of the logic. It can be additive or subtractive. The additive, it is the similar to the time impact analysis. So that's why you can get here from this additive model, the additive, some enhancements and validation that you can use in the time impact analysis. It will be very helpful. And in the, we can also have multiple program additive. Sometimes they call window analysis. Window analysis can be called on many things, but one of the common things people are using, like modeled additive multi-base on different programs. The modeled subtractive, it is very rare used approach. You are simulating the program and then collapsing and then removing the events and the impact of them from the program to get the dates. Here in this retrospective, you have a new classification like this for the approaches. You have how to choose the method. You have the source validation, which is one of the very helpful things, how to validate the program and rectify and enhance them to be used. You have implementation protocol for each of these 9 approaches from 3.1 to 3.9 with all the steps. And you have finally analysis, evaluation to get the results and analyze them. What are the standard forms saying? If we'll go to standard form like FEDEC, like GCT, the NEC, what they are saying about delay analysis, you will not find some clear direction on the delay analysis approach. But you can find from the language, they are encouraging the retrospective delay analysis, because you will do you'll submit the claim before the completion of the project. So you submit extension of time claim prospectively and doing the analysis prospectively. So you can find this from the language. You will not find a certain approach. It doesn't mean they don't know the delay analysis or they don't know the approaches, but they do it intentionally because they cannot recommend something. The parties can agree on something. So sometimes they leave, like for concurrent delay, for example, they are not adding it. They don't add it because they don't know it. and or it is not common in the project, they don't add because the approach is not settled and the parties need to agree. So sometimes they add in particular conditions or something like this. So they leave it to the parties to agree on it. So by language, we can say it is prospectively, but some forms like the GCT can do it in, can make like some additional retrospective review for the extension of time claims, which is very good practice. And also when they went to the court and the court went to use and review the contracts in terms of extension of time claims and delay analysis, they accepted to do some retrospective analysis and permitted to do so, even if it is against the language of the contract, but they permitted to do so in line with the approach of the assessment of damages. When you assess damages, normally you assess this retrospectively. So that's why they accepted and permitted to do so also for the delay analysis and get support by the retrospective approaches. When you go more to the time impact analysis, you will find that it is mainly 8 steps by the ACE, and we'll see this 8 steps in the following flowchart. The first step is to prepare a fragment, prepare a subnetwork of activities related to the delay. So you can see this delay is caused by instruction, and this instruction we will do some engineering submissions, engineering approval, some procurement activities. So we'll make this subnetwork of activities affected by this event. And then here they prefer to get this fragment accepted. This is not happen normally, but in terms of claims, when you agree on something, when you agree more, you on the procedure, agree more on the approach, on the things used, like the fragment and these things, you will get also easier agreement on the results. So you will do the fragment, you will also select a program, updated program to add the fragment inside it. They call unimpacted. They do your calculation. They check if you can do mitigation. Then you run the program, checking the critical path, checking the previous extension of time claims, and then analyze the do path analysis and award or determine the actual delay and the extension of time entitlement. From the forensic, you can get some enhancements. As I said, from the model, the additive, some enhancements you can do to the time impact analysis, validations. We have some practical challenges I discussed in a different session, and you have some special cases you can find also in the SCL. So when you go to these references, you can know more and you can get some more techniques, tools and techniques, and also some from practicality you can to do in the time impact analysis. No exact method. So as we discussed right now, you can find many methods can be used, but none of them is an exact method. All of them can be right, but you need to know about the contract, what the contract is mentioning, what the legal consideration, the technical consideration. Do we have the data? Do we have the team can do this? Do we have the time? What the dispute size? Is it feasible to do it in terms of the time and money, or also hours of the people will consume? Does it worth to do so? And is this analysis can get us the required results? Now another topic is the concurrent delay. I think I can go quickly on the concurrent delay. It is a separate session, and I can share it with you. It's already published publicly and published in public. You can find it, and I can share it with you. The concurrent delay, it means we have delay by the employer and by the contractor at the same time. To have it like true concurrent delay or literal concurrent delay, as they call these events happened at the same time and cause the same delay. It can be very difficult and very rare to have this, but they call it here to have the effect of the delays felt at the same time. So they call it concurrent effect, or they call it like not literal concurrency, but functional concurrency. So here you can find these definitions, different definitions from different references, but this functional theory, which is also recognize the real world and what's happening actually in the world and the actual cases. I have many challenges when we go to the concurrent delay. Timing of the events, the dependency. The event should be independent, not with the first event causing the second one. So we'll still have the root cause. So they are not causing each other. The duration of them, are the duration overlapping or the effect overlapping? And after that, we will see what will be the after all of these challenges and solving all these challenges, we can see what will be the entitlement and the extension of time. I have many principles applicable here. Like no, sometimes they are employer are delaying the project and saying I'm taking advantage of the delay of the contractor, and this is against some principles, some legal principles, very old and very important legal principles, like that a party shall not benefit of its own wrong. So now they want to benefit from the its own wrong to get to do some additional work because the other party also delayed. The contractor is delayed, and the employer will make a concurrent delay without giving the contractor or granting the contractor extension of time. So this is against some legal principles. We can find this causing many issues and many contradiction in the understanding even of the courts in some cases, because of the it sometimes intersect with pacing events. So is it pacing or concurrency? Are the delays independent? And one of them is like, sometimes they say one of them is dominant. So we can find many debates even in the courts about the approaches to analyze the concurrent delay. Some of them are saying it is time but no money approach. They will grant the contractual extension of time but no compensation. And they call it like general rule, but actually it's not general. Some other cases are going to different approaches. Some of them are granting the extension of time and finding it is compensable if the contractor can make a proof that there are damages caused to the contractor happened only because of the employer event, and if the contractor was only delayed, these damages will not happen. So in this case, it can be also compensable. Some of them, they are saying using the first in line approach. If the contractor is delayed first, the contractor will not get extension of time unless the employer delay exceeded the contractor delay. So this is not, so here this is not concurrency. Another approach they used in Scotland, which they call the dominant cause. They're checking the dominant cause. They are checking the causes and which one is bigger, which one is dominant, and can like, and the delaying the project, and the other one is like not delaying the project this much and coming under the other one. So which one is dominant, and giving the dominant everything. So and make the this party liable for everything. And after they used this approach, they found in some cases they couldn't decide which one is dominant, and they went, instead of going to the time but no money, they went to apportionment. They are saying they are participating in the delay with a percentage, and then we will see what are these percentage of participation, and we will apportion it between the parties. So, and then the English court didn't accept this apportionment, and they went to the time but no money, or they called it Malmason approach because of the name of the case. So there are different approaches, and these approaches are not settled yet. So we cannot say they accepted this, rejected this, and they are following only one approach right now. It's not like this. They are still shifting between the approaches. That's why when I said the standard forms are not having or adopting one approach because of this, because it's not settled legally around the world, and the legislation also will affect this. You can find some good examples actually in this reference. It is open reference. You can find it also public on the internet. The CMS, it's a legal entity guide to concurrent delay. You can find many cases under, or one case they analyzed under different jurisdictions. Now we'll go to the these sections for the extension of time claim. We have here the benefits and elements of extension of time claim. Then we will go to the content and what will happen if we don't agree, and the parties disagreement, what will happen. We mentioned in the beginning why we need this extension of time mechanism and this extension of time claims, and not to have the project time at large, and to have a mechanism to set a new contractual date in case of extension of time event, what we called after that excusable event. So the benefit here is not only for the contractor to have a new date and not to be relieved, or not to be under the delay damages. It's also beneficial for the employer and the client to know the new date, and to have to plan also the operation of the project according to this. So having this mechanism in the contract is not only for the benefit of the contractor, it's benefit for both parties. It's win-win situation. That's why we have this inside the contract. The element of extension of time claim, like any other claim, we need to have cause, effect, and causal link. The cause is the event, and to have this event with under responsibility on the which party under the contract. So we need to follow the contract risk allocation of the events. So we have this cause, and to have this cause is making the contractor entitled, and we have merit of the claim. And then we have the effect. This cause is affecting the completion date and causing critical delay, and we quantify this using the delay analysis approaches. Then we have the causal link to make this link between the cause and effect. This event caused this delay. So we have these three elements of the extension of time claim. The content, when we go to like the content or the index, we are submitting a claim, and what will happen in case of the disagree. The content normally will start like introduction about the purpose of this claim, the contract particulars, and the position of the entitlement, the event, or some event narrative and chronology of the event, the delay analysis report for the impact, analyzing the impact, and finally the conclusion with the new completion date. It's very important not to make only the entitlement in terms of duration. It's also important to make it with a date. What is the new completion date? We have some practical cases. They make some duration with many claims, and then they intersect together, and at the end it was very difficult to know what is the overlapping between them. So that's why it's very important here to make the duration and the date the new completion date after this extension of time claim, and you may add the compensation if it is compensable. And there are also approaches to calculate the compensation. Here, the final thing. What will happen if we did everything perfect? We did we agreed on the approach, and we did a great and brilliant delay analysis with excellent report and done very well. We did all elements of the extension of time claim with all evidence, uh, with good chronology, documents, everything is perfect, but the parties disagree. May this happen? Yes, it may happen. It may happen that the other party takes long time to reply or to reach no agreement. And we suffer from this many times when you go like work as a claim consultant and go to the client or a contractor working for a client or contractor, and then they are saying you are expert and we will win, and we have the rights, we have all documents, and you told us you are uh, we have everything, and we prepared it very well, an excellent claim, and this means we will get our rights. No, the case, it's not always like this. To get your rights, it needs the other party to agree. Sometimes the other party disagree and make sometimes valid reason or also invalid reasons. If it is valid reason, you can reply and negotiate. If it's invalid reason, you will not be able to reply. Sometimes you will get like no agreement and no room to negotiate. That's why when we reach this disagreement in claims, no, in all types of claims and including the extension of time claims, the unresolved claim will crystallize a dispute. So we'll have a dispute, and this dispute will go to dispute resolution procedures, all alternatives, starting from negotiation of the parties, mediation. Sometimes we have DAB in place, dispute avoidance board or adjudication, or we go to arbitration or litigation at the end. So it depends on the case. The claims may go to this, even if you have the right, because sometimes you go after this disagreement, when you go to the adjudication or the court, you will get your right and you will find yourself entitled. So it means you have the right in the first place, but the other party disagreed with invalid reason. Like this, I finished today. Now the closing notes to recap what we discussed quickly. So in the today's session, we discussed the fundamentals. We discussed the fundamentals of delay analysis. We started from these 50 fundamentals. We selected some key topics. We started with the purpose of the delay analysis, why we need the delay analysis, why we have extension of time claims, and this extension of time mechanism inside the contract, the construction contract. Based on the nature of the construction contract, we need to have this, unless we will have like time at large. So we need to have new obligation when we have prevention. Then we discussed the types of delays: inexcusable, excusable. We discussed the responsible party, like the employer risk event, contractor risk event. So no extension of time in case of contractor risk event. Extension of time will be in case of employer risk event, neutral or concurrent. And in case of employer, it will be excusable, compensable. And if it is neutral or concurrent, it will be non-compensable. And we discussed the delay-related topics like the pacing, disruption, acceleration, and mitigation. Then we discussed the schedule requirements and the critical path, what will be required in the schedule to do delay analysis, what is the affecting the critical path and the meaning of the critical path for the non-completed activities. We discussed the delay analysis methodologies and the international classifications from international references, and then we went to the ACE recommended practices, the prospective and retrospective from forensic schedule analysis. And we elaborated a bit more about the time impact analysis and the 8 steps of the time impact analysis and why it is required prospectively from the practical perspective for the benefit of the business and the parties to move with lights on. Then I discussed the concurrent delay, the challenges in the definition, and the approaches and why it's not settled yet. And finally, I discussed the extension of time clean, the benefits, the elements, the components, how the index can look like, and what will happen if we disagreed. Thank you very much. I finished my presentation. If you have any question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Higazi.
Welcome.
So if you
any question,
you can ask directly, Mr. Higazi.
you can unmute and ask, or you can cannot open the mic. You can.
Yes, I think.
Right in the yes.
If anyone want to ask a question, just unmute and ask your question.
Yes,
There's
or
a
you
question
can
in
write
the chat.
the chat also. I can see the chat. Let's see, Muhammad is saying perfect. No question. No question. It can be it is clear or it can be unclear. So both cases.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed, for this insightful presentation. I have a question regarding the scope evolution. So, how do we assess the schedule impact when there is a change of scope or continuous scope evolution during project execution, especially in construction projects?
Yes, if we have additional work, or scope change, as you mentioned, so it is better to do it prospectively. So when we do it in prospective approach, we can do like here following the steps of the prospective. We check the appropriate updates we will use, so we can have the update prior to this instruction of the change, and then use this update as unimpacted schedule. And then we see this change and the activities relevant to this change and prepare a fragment and subnetwork with these activities relevant to this change. And after that, inserting this fragment inside the program with the logic of insertion, if it is can be linked to which activities like as a predecessor and on and successor to this additional work, and running the program and analyzing the path, what it's changed in the which path is affected and how is it extended and how long is it going beyond the contractual completion date, and decide and determine the entitlement according to this. So normally you follow these 8 steps of the time impact analysis. Clear?
Yes, clear. But how we can distinguish the delay caused by the scope change? Is it the contractor responsibility or the employee responsibility? I don't know if you understand me.
Yes,
of our
this is the case
yes,
of the concurrent delay. Sometimes you have additional work and the project is already delayed. So the project is already delayed by the contractor, and this event is causing also additional work is causing delay. So we can,
exactly.
yes, we can distinguish this if it is affecting a different path. So if it is affecting a different path, it will be more clear. We can see this path, how this affected a part of the other path. Sometimes we can do like some scenarios on some another scenario on the baseline, doing it. It's also time impact analysis, but in the common names they call it impacted as planned. So we do some scenario on the baseline, or to know the what is the impact of the additional work separately from the delay of the contractor. So we need to isolate them somehow, segregate them somehow. It is not always helpful for the employer. The employer sometimes doesn't like to do so, and sometimes they add in the contract not to do so, and there are many debates about it. That's why the concurrent delay, we have many debates and the approach not settled, and advise you to attend also this session of concurrent delay. I can share it with Ala, and also if you contact me, I can share it with you. I can also drop it now, right now in the chat. Would be
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed.
any other question? I see some for this. Thank you for this answer. I see some question here in the chat.
Yeah, yes, there is a question. If the delay analysis method not mentioned,
If the delay analysis method is not mentioned in the contract, what is the delay analysis method to use, and what happened if if contractor and the employer don't agree about the method? What is the best solution from your point according to the expertise in construction projects? As I said, by the language of most of the contracts, you will find the approach is the prospective approach. If you can like convince the parties, if it's not mentioned in the contract, we cannot make like this is the agreement between the parties. We cannot force another party to agree on something we don't agree in the contract. So we need to convince the other party this approach. We will use this approach and agree on like the time impact analysis, for example, and agree on the approach. And if we are using like the international standard, so it can be more helpful, so we can agree. It's not an opinion of one party, it is international standard. So this recommended practice, for example, of the ACE. Sometimes it happened with my friends. He asked me, I have this debate with the client and I'm not able to convince, can you send me some reference? When I send him a reference and then the other party see this is coming from a reference, in this case it can be easier to agree on something. So like this, by the nature, it's normally prospective, and the best prospective is time impact analysis, and try to convince the other party. If we don't agree, even if we agreed on the approach and we don't agree on the results, we don't have anything to force the parties to agree. And that's why I was intentionally adding the last slide. If we have disagreement, we'll go to disputes. We cannot force any party to agree. So that will happen at the end. So it will be the dispute, and we will go to the dispute resolution alternatives, as I mentioned. I added in the chat also the link of the YouTube video, the concurrent delay session I did with the Chartered Institute of Building, CIOB. If somebody is interested in the concurrent delay. It looks we don't have any other question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Higgins. Thank you for your time, for this insightful presentation. And thank you everybody for your presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalam.
Thank you all.
مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.